video is going to be me recreating Caribbean potato scallop or potato au gratin or Dauphinoise potatoes. So I'm not coming on screen today because I'm not feeling too well, but we are starting out with some potatoes. As you can see, they've started to do this thing because I'm not a really big fan of potatoes, so I don't really like mash or roast potatoes or chips or any of those things. I have to have a feeling for it. So I've had this for at least, I don't know, long enough for it to start growing stuff, let's say that. So this is 2 kgs of potato. I'm gonna try and use all of it, and we're using mozzarella ball. I had this in the freezer. I'm going to grate it so that when I make the cheese sauce, it goes into that and melts. Grated hard cheese, which is, I guess, the cheaper substitute to Parmesan cheese. This is my assumption. I'm not too sure. Definitely need some butter. I need some flour as well, and red Leicester cheese. I know, like in America and in the Caribbean, like the cheddar cheese is actually this color, but here the cheddar is actually white and red Leicester is the orange cheese. So this is obviously not going to be enough. So I did go and get a pack yesterday. My garlic paste, parsley, which it looks this way because it was in the freezer. Usually when I'm finished with, like if I've opened a packet, I'll put it in the freezer just because I don't necessarily cook every day and I don't want it to spoil. And then we have 1 onion. Now with this onion, you can finally dice it, but I am going to actually grate it just to help the texture of everything be like smooth and you don't have like chunks of onion in your mouth. You can alternatively blend this. I'm not trying to dirty everything because I don't have anybody to wash dishes and I don't have a dishwasher, so I'm gonna grate this. It's easier to just wash a grater. And obviously you're gonna need like black pepper and you're gonna need salt. Actually, let me show you. So this is the black pepper I use, and then the salt that I use, which is always the salt that I use, fine sea salt. I never use anything else. I don't use table salt, just sea salt. Not that I think they're different, but they're probably not. And we're not going to use too much of this because the cheese and everything and the butter does have salt in it. You don't want to over salt your food. I'll be back on screen when I start to make the cheese sauce. Oh, obviously you have to grate this. If you're good with a knife, then you can always use a knife to slice that. But I can't even use a scissor correctly, to be fair, if I'm being honest. I can't even cut straight. So I'm going to use like this makeshift mandolin. I think that's what it's called, a mandolin. And this is what is going to slice my potatoes and ensure that I have even slices. Oh, I almost cut myself. Even slices along throughout the dish. This is just something that I bought like a few years ago off of Amazon. And it comes with loads of attachments. If I could get this in. So this is how it fits, and it catches everything that you do, and it does have like different attachments. So if I find the link for it, I'll just link it in the description box so you can also get it. But it has like grate that looks like that. It has the cheese grater, and then it has this grater, which is the grater that I usually use when I'm grating like carrots for like carrot cake, because it gives it a fine texture. I don't like the lumps of carrots in carrot cake, so this gives it a very smooth texture. So this is what you should use. Well, not should, but you should use. So yes, I'm gonna come back out. I'm gonna get these potatoes peeled and get this onion grated and also the cheese grated, and then I'll be back. So guys, I've just come back on camera. I've started to slice them through the mandolin, but I just wanted to show you how like good this is. And also I put the potatoes, the sliced potatoes, in water because it prevents them from turning brown, as well as the ones that peel water as well. So you just the only thing about this is that I wish that it had something for you to like press it down with, because when it gets this low, I'm just like, I am not in the business of losing fingers. So this is the only hard part. You just try to, and sometimes it might get stuck, and you just shake it out in hopes that it goes down. But if it doesn't, you just open it, pull it through, and I keep going. But this is the only part that really scares the crap out of me because I don't want to get my fingers gone, but I'm not going to do anything with that. And we just go again. And we just create, you can see, potatoes are really thin. They're literally probably 1 centimeter thick. 1 centimeter or 1 millimeter thick. I don't know. We don't know measurements over here, but maybe 1 millimeter thick. So 0.1 centimeters. And you know, I just put them into the water and keep going until I'm finished. So guys, I just wanted to show you how versatile this actually is. Oh, this is actually, no, that's not English. This grammar now. How versatile this equipment is. So remember, I used the mandolin to do the potatoes. Now I'm grating the cheese, and this is the grate attachment for cheese. Excuse my glass of wine. And we just grate, and it just catches in there. No mess, little cleanup. Amazing. So guys, now I am finally back. I've done everything that I need to do. So this is the grated onion, the garlic paste, and if you want to know how I create my garlic paste, just click in the iCards, and I would have it linked in the description box. It would have been like one of my latest videos. This is the chopped parsley. Remember, it was frozen, so that's why it looks like that. This is about 3 tablespoons of flour, and this is about, let's say, 5 tablespoons of butter. I forgot this in the first clip. This is the star of the show. We're not making this without this. Fresh double cream. I put this in the freezer to keep it preserved because I knew I wanted to make this video, but I just didn't know when I was going to do it. So this was in the freezer, so it had to be thawed out. But this is what we're going to be using. Obviously, we're grated hard cheese. It is 150 grams. I'm probably going to use half of this, but we're not sure yet. Salt, black pepper, a grated cheese. This is the mozzarella that I grated. This is the red Leicester cheddar cheese, and of course our potatoes. Like, you can see right through it, flexible, so we know that these are gonna be pang. So in the next clip you will see me creating my roux, and then before I create the roux, I will have the onions and the garlic fry down in the butter and then add the flour. But don't worry, you'll definitely see, and I'll try my best to explain. So from this point on, the video is essentially going to be, the video is going to be a voiceover. And it's done, it smoked like that because the pot was really hot. But from this point, it's going to be a voiceover. So guys, here you can see me just melting the butter and trying to get that melted down so that I can eventually add the grated onions and the garlic paste into it. And you're gonna need a whisk. A whisk is the best way. I mean, if you're really skilled in this, you can use like a wooden spoon, but a whisk is definitely your first option, even for the skilled people, just so that you can eventually like whisk around that roux properly. So you just see me here scraping out the ramekin of garlic paste into the butter that is just melting down. And if you're wondering where I got those ramekins from, they're from Poundland. So you get like 3 in a pack for £1. So that's always good. I'm going to get a few more. Then I'm going to add in my flour. And when my flour gets in, this is when you need to start mixing. Don't sleep on it. Like mix, and it's going to look clumpy. But don't worry about that. Just continue to mix it around, and you're going to keep doing that for about a minute or so, or just over a minute, just so that we can cook out that floury taste, because we only want it to be able to thicken the sauce. We don't necessarily want the flavor of flour. And now we're going to add my double cream. So my double cream was in the freezer. This is why it came out looking so coagulated. It was in the freezer, but as it touches the pan, you can see it begins to like properly melt down. And this is what you want. I did go back in with a bit of milk in the container. Let's say about 1/3 of a cup, just to give it some pull. But I think like maybe next time I wouldn't add that much milk to it, just a touch of it possibly. But here I'm just gonna have it cook a bit, and then you see me adding my grated hard cheese. I used half of that bag, so not too much, but just enough. At this juncture, this is where we would actually call a like Alfredo sauce at this juncture, without adding the other cheeses. But we're not making Alfredo. One of these days I will make you my famous Alfredo sauce, but not today obviously, because today we're making potatoes au gratin. So I'm just gonna mix. Then I'm gonna go in and then add my mozzarella cheese, and then also my cheddar cheese, which would be sharp cheddar in America, sharp cheddar cheese, or regular cheddar cheese in America. In the Caribbean here it's called red Leicester. In the UK it is called red Leicester cheese. So we're just gonna mix, and if you can see with that cheese sauce, there's a pull to it. This is actually a really good cheese sauce generally. This is like a three cheese sauce for like maybe mac and cheese, which is another recipe I've been like asked loads of times to make. But I just feel like with cheese dishes, I try to not use them too much, because like they're just always so fattening, and cheese is generally expensive, so it's just one of those things you just try to avoid. But earlier in the clip you saw me add my chopped parsley, and I'm adding about 2 teaspoons of sea salt and about 1 tablespoon of black pepper, and we just mix. And at this juncture we're just gonna let this cook down, try to thicken it a bit and just have it cook down. Ideally I think I should have probably let it cook down a bit more, but nonetheless the end result was absolutely amazing. So here I'm just adding some of the sauce to the bottom of the pan. This just prevents it from sticking. I know some people like spray oil into their container so that the food doesn't stick, but you know, oil, salt, all those things are not necessarily good for you. So I try to avoid those type of things, and hence that's one of the reasons why I make everything from scratch, or a lot of things from scratch. Is just that at least I know what I'm putting into the food that I make. It's just healthier really. So I'm just lining out the potatoes to ensure that there is no cracks at the bottom. And we're just gonna spoon the cheese sauce on top of the potatoes. There's no measurements when it comes to this. Just cover all the potatoes really. Leave no potato untouched. No potato left behind. So yeah, and then I'm gonna just add another layer. This time the layer, it doesn't matter how the layer is added. And remember, I did use all 2 kgs of the potatoes. All of the potatoes were used. So don't worry, that sauce will cover all of it. You put them in and literally push on those potatoes and the sauce will cover them. Don't you worry, it will be fine. So now I'm just adding the remnants of the red Leicester that was grated. I don't know how much red Leicester to estimate, but you are creating your own cheese sauce and you're creating how much cheese you want, so you can add more cheese if you do feel it is necessary. Now I am sprinkling the top of my potatoes au gratin or Dauphinoise potatoes with parsley, just for aesthetic really, nothing special. So this went into the oven for about 45 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, fan assisted, and it just cooked. And you can see me just spooning this out, and it absolutely came out great. It's not runny, it's not dry, it's not falling apart, it's holding its shape. It was amazing, guys, really and truly. I was actually really proud of myself when I made this. The potatoes were perfect. They weren't mushy, but they weren't firm. They were literally just perfect. And I don't know if you can tell by the way the fork cuts through the potatoes. I've kind of zoomed in now so that you can see a bit more. The way the fork cuts through the potatoes, you can tell that these are actually baked to perfection and cooked to perfection. And then that amazing cheese sauce, flavors were on point. The garlic, the parsley, amazing. This is definitely a dish that you would want to remake for yourself.
a spouse, your family. And this is something that like is always going to be signature in my home.
Thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed watching me create this, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos like this. If you'd love to see me create anything of your choice, if you just leave it in the comment section down below, I'll be definitely picking it up. And thank you guys so much for all the support, and remember, bon appetit.